Hello guys, good evening. So thanks a lot for joining us for today's session. Uh, we also have Abhishek for today's session. So hi Abhishek, thanks a lot for joining us today.
Hi
Can you
Digvijay.
hear me?
Hi. Yep.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi Digvijay. Hi everyone.
Yeah, hi Abhishek. Hi. So just as we are getting started with this session, I would just like to introduce to you about give an introduction to the platform. So Antwork, we are a social learning platform, and our goal have been throughout these year and a half of us operating is that to share the business knowledge and the industrial expertise that people have with their peers and the other folks who want to build their career into those particular technologies. Into that, we host these series of discussion AMS sessions, workshops, and webinars with various industry experts, such as Abhishek here, and to try to cover up on that and touch upon some of the very interesting and popular topics into the area of data science, data engineering, product, in digital marketing, cybersecurity, like that. Without taking much of your time, I would just like to invite Abhishek over to the stage. So we will stop the presenting from our side. Abhishek, can you please pull up your presentation?
Sure. Sure.
So while Abhishek come up with the presentation, just to get an idea of the room, I'm launching a poll. So just take care of 1 second to, just give a vote onto that. All right. So
Yeah. Hello. Good evening, everyone. I'm Abhishek Gupta, your host for today. I'm currently working as a senior data engineer at PayU and handling the data platform here. Today, I will be sharing some of my knowledge on data lake and data warehousing techniques, and then we'll try to answer your concerns and doubts over the same topic. So, our topic of the day is data lakes versus the data warehouse, and is it the data lake a complementary thing or a replacement to the data warehouse? So, oh, sorry, just a minute. I'm not able to navigate to my slides. Sorry for that. And there's something. So Digvijay, is there a limitation on navigating while on screen share on Zoom?
no, I don't think there's any
Okay,
limitations.
okay. Cool, I'll try it.
Just try again.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, just to start with, the presentation, so why do we need such thing like a data lake or a data warehouse? Why there was a need of that? So first of all, we all work for organizations, and organizations needs to grow their businesses, right? And for growing their businesses, they need to track their businesses. They need to get alerts. They need to create reports. For that, they need to make business decisions, and these business decisions they can only make via analytics. And for analytics, they need to store their data, and then they need to perform data analytics, machine learning, and business intelligence on the top of it. So a data lake and data warehouse comes in place whenever there is a use case of analytics. So I'll just give you a brief. So why do we need a data warehouse? So why is it different from a traditional RDBMS system? So previously, our most of our applications, like they were storing the data in traditional RDBMS systems like MySQL, SQL Server, HBase, things like that. But then like when the things come of analytics, like they were not able to perform because they was not built for that. Like they were built for performing OLTP operations, but when people were trying to do analytics and large capacity analytics, they were failing. So that's where the concept of data warehousing came into place, right? So all data driven organizations are using the data in these three ways only. Like either they are using it for business intelligence, either they are using it for data analytics, and or for AI and ML. So when they are using it for business intelligence, like they are utilizing the old historical data and they are learning from their past, like how their business performed in past, and then they are trying to learn from their mistakes and then making modifications in their business solutions. The other thing, like they are tracking it on a real time basis, like just like uh, Uber app does, like how is the ride going on and where is the ride going on, things like that. So these are the things related to real time tracking and real time analytics. And then there are such use cases where you can combine your past and current data and make use of machine learning. So I'll give you an example, like how organizations are using machine learning, utilizing the data. So all of you guys have been familiar to YouTube platform, and once you watch a video, the next time you will get a video related to that, or maybe related to that genre. So why is it happening? Because Google has placed a recommendation engine at the back end, and they are utilizing your previous history of data and then recommending you that you may watch this video in future, right? So that's predicting the future. So this is how organizations are utilizing the historical data and the current data uh, to make best use of machine learning algorithm and to provide you a fine grained solution, right? But for that you need to store the data. So that is where we are here for the discussion, like should we use the data warehouse or data lake? So let's first discuss on the data warehouses. Like, so data warehouses were obviously the first to come up. Data lakes are just common for like past 5 to 8 years, but data warehouses were the first analytical solutions which were built apart from the OLTP systems. Like, so I'll just give you a brief about the database, the data warehouses. Like, so they are basically an architectural construct which is used to store the information and provide the current and historical decision support for which they can use for their traditional operational data store. So they are built for specific use cases. Like data warehouses are a combination of various data marts which are built for various business solutions. Like, or in organizations you may be calling them for different teams. Right? Let's suppose you have a data warehouse, you have a data mart for sales team, you have a separate data mart for operations team, you have a separate data mart for legal team, like, and all then combine it to form a data warehouse. So data warehouses, like insertion in data warehouses, are mostly happening in an ETL way format. You first extract the data from your OLTP systems, transform it into human readable format or SQL queryable format, and then store it into a data warehouse model, right? And then you perform BI operations, you perform reporting. So these things happen in basically micro batching. Like this is not happening in real time. It takes time to load the data, transform it, and then store it into a data model and then make it available for future analytics. Like the also the data storing model is also quite different from traditional RDBMS model. Like so, you must have learned about like normal forms in your engineering, like 1NF, 2NF, 3NF. So these are the normal forms which are like mostly used for your building your RDBMS systems, right? But data warehouses use a different modeling techniques like star schema, snowflake schema. So they have a fact table and a multiple dimension table. So and the reason why such models built just to increase the productivity of analytics, like in like so that the analysts can query the data quite quickly. They can they can get a good understanding, and they can get faster results. So that is why like data warehouses use a different modeling technique as compared to RDBMS systems. But like, why the data warehouses fail? Like, what was the problem? Like when we created a solution like a data lake, like if that was going fine for analytics, like why there was a need of data lake? Like uh, that happened because there was various reasons why the data warehouses failed. Firstly, like they was not built for storing massive amount of data. Like they can store a large amount of data as compared to traditional OLTP systems, because they were they were in a clustered way rather than a single node. But still, like they were not able to store massive volume of data. Like that was the main reason why people move ahead from a data warehouse solution to a data lake. The second reason was like the cost of scaling up and scaling down of the data warehouse was very high. Let's suppose like you were having a 10 node cluster, and then suddenly you got a new product release and your amount of data got suddenly increased. Like so then, like adding new nodes to the cluster and then managing the data, restructuring the data, it was very expensive. Like, and it was really a tedious task for the data engineers and the data platform handlers to maintain at that scale. Like another reason why, like there was an extra effort required to structure data before storing. Like you can't store the exact raw data which is coming from the OLTP systems or the application logs directly to the warehouse. Like you can't store that. You first need to fetch the data, transform it, clean it, model it into a human readable way, and then you have to store it in the warehouse. So it requires a sufficient amount of effort and pipeline development to store data into the warehouse. So, and another thing, like the cost of updating the historical data. Let's suppose like you have to, like you have a transactional data source and you are storing the transactions which are happening, right? And then like you got an update, okay, you have to update the 1 year old transaction. So that cost of updating the historical data was very much. Another reason, like now people are not limiting to analytics or BI. Like people are moving to machine learning, AI, right? And data warehouses doesn't support these real-time use cases, right? Because if you need to do machine learning, if you need to do AI, you need to get the data in real time, do quick analytics, do heavy analytics, and then make a business decision or predict something which could be useful to the end user. So that support was not there in a data warehouse. And the last reason was you were not flexible to store any kind of data in your warehouse. Like you need to model it in a very rigid data schema, and then it should be able to use, or it should be able to query for the data analysts or the clients, whichever utilizing your warehouse. Like, but in the data lake, all these problems get solved. So like that's how like the era of the data lakes started. Like the data lakes allow you to gather the data from any data store and get it stored in the original format. Like so I'll also tell you, like so data lakes are mostly built to store the files. Like you only store the data in a file format, that in a file, like in a file based storage. Like you can store any file format, like whether it could be CSV, whether it could be Excel, whether it could be Parquet or JSON. Like it's totally flexible, but you have to store in a file format based. Like the another advantage you got from using a data lake, like you can import any amount of data. Like if you have a distributed storage solution, and that you can store any amount of data, and the data can come in real time and it's available to be processed for the end user at that very moment. So this feature comes along with the data lake. Like this was really lagging in a data warehousing solution. Another thing, like you can store any kind of data, like whether it is structured, semi-structured, or even unstructured data. Like you can store any kind of data in your data lake. Like you don't have to restrict to a particular data model or a particular schema. It's open-ended. Like it's, you can think of like it's an open schema storage. Like you can store anything at any place. Another thing, like data lakes are usually used to store raw data. Like you get the data from the application logs or the source system, and you store it as it is. Like you don't need to pre-process it, And but it can also store, you can also store processed and semi-processed data as well. Like you, data lake doesn't restrict you to storing any kind of data. Like you can store raw, you can store process, you can store your features, you can store your aggregates, anything. So it's an open-ended solution. It's just that you need to make an infra which is capable of storing these files, and then it's available to use. So and another thing, like why do we needed a data lake, right? So like why only a data lake, like, and why not anything else? Like because it allows us to store any amount of raw data. Like it allows us to answer the questions which couldn't be answered by a data warehouse solution. The reason why is like the data warehouses were specifically built to cater a particular problem. Like, so let's suppose we are building a data warehouse for our sales team, right? So it would be having the aggregates or the features related to the sales of our product. Like it, you won't get any other information apart from it. Or maybe you would be getting the sales information for a particular time duration only. Like you won't get it the historical view as well. But in a data lake you have all the data available. Like you, if you have a processing engine, if you have a processing power, you can process all the data and do your insights. Like you, it won't limit you for anything. Another thing, like with data lake solved it, it removed the limitation of file formatting. Like you can, as I discussed with you, like it, you can store any kind of files, any kind of file format. And also like you don't have to pre-process your data and then store in your data lake. Like you can store any kind of data at any moment, and then you can use it for your further transformation. Like your data will come from your source systems, will get stored in your data lake, and then you can use it for your further processing, for your further analytics. Like so that is how it is different from traditional data warehousing solution, because it use an ELT approach. That's an extract, load, and transform. So you will extract the data, then you will load it directly to your lake, and then you can transform afterwards. But in your data warehousing solution, you first have to extract, then you have to transform, model it into a rigid schema, and then load it into your data warehouse. So that is how data lake solve that problem. And I've already discussed you that you can get the access of the historical data and do your analytics. Another thing, like, which is the most crucial thing here, is the low cost storage. So storage on a data warehouse was fairly costlier than you have it on a data lake. So data lake can be built on a simple commodity hardware. You just have to make a distributed storage, maybe an SDFS or AWS S3. It is very cheaper as compared to the data warehousing solutions which are available in the market. So that is why, like, it is currently in the boom. Like, so that, because you don't need to pay to store that amount of data, you can just simply store it and utilize it whenever you need. And it will cost you just peanuts as compared to the data warehouse. So now, like, let's come to our main questions. Like, so can data lakes completely replace the data warehouses? Right? So like so far, like, what have we discussed? Like, data warehouses were built to perform analytics. They were having these features. You need to make a data warehouse model, a star schema or a snowflake schema. But then you faced some of the problems, like high cost, file format issue. You need to process the data. Like, these are the problems which you face. So then we invented data lake, and then all these problems get solved. But now, like, can you say that data lakes can completely replace the data warehouses? No, no, this will not happen. Because, like, data warehouses are made for their use cases, for their specific use cases. Like, and data lake is there when those use cases are suffice, and we want to do any other kind of analytics or more data or analytics on some high volume of data or faster data. Like, so organizations will continue to use the data warehousing approach because their use case is limited to it. Like, they don't have to go far away, or they don't have to do that much of analytics which you can do on a data lake. Because data lake is easier to maintain. It looks simple, but it comes with uh, other complexities as well. Like you need to manage it, you need to perform the transformation, you need to create the features and then use it. And there are many other things which will come along when you are going ahead to a data lake. Like you need to make a pipeline to fetch the data at a particular time, and then you have to load it, because like it's open ended. Like you don't you are not controlling the data which is coming into a data lake. Like it's open ended schema. So these are the few things which come along with a data lake, and that is why it is said that data lakes will not completely replace the data warehouses, because they are made for different use cases. They are made for high volume data processing. They are made for to support real time analytics, and they are made for using they are made for supporting machine learning and AI use cases. So I'll also tell you that when not to use a data lake. Like for now, like I am just telling you that it will solve all your problems. It is better than a data warehouse, but still, like I'll also tell you like when not to use a data lake. Like firstly, like if your data size is fairly small, like if your org is fairly small, you don't have that amount of data, then I should not recommend you to go to a data lake approach, because it is not meant for that. The second thing is, when your schema is mostly rigid, like the data which you are capturing in your data lake, it's not getting updated regularly. The schema is fairly rigid. You just need to store it and perform analytics. So then I don't think it's a data lake use case, right? You can just simply store in your data warehouse and simply perform your simple SQL queries, and then you can get your results in a much faster and a much simpler way. The third reason is, like when your data is mostly structured, like you don't have your data in JSON format, you don't have your data in any other unstructured file format. You don't then don't need to store it in your data lake. You can, if you have your data rigid, you have your data structured, it is not in block format, just load it in your data warehouse and perform analytics. The last reason is when you have limited analytics use case. Like let's suppose you are working in an org, and it is working for a particular business solution, and you just have to use analytics for performing that use case. Like you don't have more analytics use case. Uh, you currently do not do anything much with that data. Like then there is no use of maintaining a data lake and spending your money over the infra and sending your money over to manage that data. Like it's not a typical data lake use case. So these are the things like you need to keep in your mind whenever you are thinking of to move forward from a data warehousing solution to a data lake solution. So there are also like when you have some benefits on a data lake, you also have some pitfalls as well. Like, so as I told you, like your data lake, it's open ended. You can push your data at any place, you can access the data in any place. So this flexibility comes with a pitfall that you have poor data governance. Like you don't know when at which place your data is residing, you don't know who is accessing at what place. It's very there is a possibility to prepare a proper data governance framework on top of it, but it's really typical. Like it's not a easy thing. Like just you can do in a typical RDBMS or a data warehouse solution. Like it's just you need to create a user and its password, and that user can get access. It's fairly that world is typically different, right? You have to make a proper data governance framework which will take care of that. So you have like that poor data governance coming along with the data lake. The second thing is people like build data lake, but they don't have the engineering skills to process that data. Like because you need to have a big data processing layer, you need to have a processing engine which will perform the processing, because data lake is only used for data storage. Like the processing is isolated. Like you have to take the data into a processing engine and then have to write a code to process that data, and you have to maintain the infra to which will like do that processing, and then you will get the result. But in a data warehouse, like you have the storage and the processing capability inbuilt, right? That it will you don't have to manage the infra separately. It will do the computation for you and give you the results, right? So the lack of engineering skills are a pitfall when you are moving ahead to a data lake. The third thing is obviously the infrastructure management. Like you need to have a distributed storage layer which will store your data and which would be able to store your files. And whenever your data is increasing, you need to increase that the nodes of your cluster. So still, like, you have to manage the data infrastructure. And the last thing is like updation of the historical data. So like updation is the most common and the most difficult pitfall to handle in a data lake framework. Like, so it's so if I tell you like update a field in a table, like it was, you just have to run an update command, and you just have to provide the column and the updated values, and your values will get updated. But if I tell you update a file in data lake, then you have to first read that file, update that particular field, and then rewrite that file. That's tricky, right? That sounds tricky, right? That is actually. So updation of historical data is the most common pitfall, and it comes with real complex solutions, right? So data lake was not typically built to handle or update the historical data. You just bring the data in and then process it and then navigate to the downstream system. But if you are using it for updations, you are using it for deletes, you need to have a typical data lake management framework. And yes, organizations have gone through that way. They have they have made this real complex problem very easy. They have made data lake management framework which provides you to make updates and to make deletes and to track the updates as well whenever you are doing an update on the data lake. So I'll tell you that as well, that so there are the three options which I'm aware of which can be used as a data lake management framework. One is Apache Hudi, which is developed by Uber. They have recently open sourced it, and it provides you a solution which will allows you to make updates, which will allow you to make deletes, and which will allow you also to make rollbacks. Like just you can just do simply all your operations which you do on a typical database. Then we also have Delta Lake, which is built by Databricks. They have an open source version as well as an enterprise version. Enterprise version obviously will come with some more features. And then we have a data lake platform which is provided by Qbold. Qbold is an enterprise which provides fully managed data lake platform. It's obviously a paid one, but if it looks fine for your use case, then obviously it's worth it. So now, like, I'll open the forum for any questions in case you have any doubt, in case you want to get any other information. I'm open to answer. So feel free, like, let's make it an interactive session. Like, whatever doubts you have, like maybe a small one, if you want to know something, if you want to explore something, if you want to learn something, just speak out. Like, it's totally fine.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, can you just a little bit explain about OLAP and OLTP?
Yeah. So OLTP is online transactional processing. Like, it's basically used for applications for storing the data. Like, whenever your application is running, you need to store the application logs in a very real-time use case. You need to perform fast inserts. Like, so for that, you have OLTP systems. And then if you want to perform analytics, if you want to perform heavy querying, then you have OLAP systems, like online analytical processing. So that's how it's different. So OLTP systems are your generally RDBMS systems, just like MySQL, SQL, and OLAP systems are is the paradigm which is basically used in data warehousing and just like you have your Redshift, you have Snowflake. So these are the like examples of OLAP systems which are used typically for processing. They are built basically for processing, not for the transaction system. That's how these two paradigms are different.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions, like in case you want to know anything about data lake, how it is used in for analytics, how is it used for creating features, machine learning? Like be open to it, like whatever question you have, please ask.
So, hi, I just wanted to uh, ask that. So, in a point, if what I understood is data warehousing allows for more data governance and data lake has less of it. Is that like the overall point here?
So you can say that, like in a simplified version of a data lake, yes, there is a very less data governance, but you can add your data governance by adding more utilities on the top of it. Like in a data warehouse, data governance comes along with it, but in a data lake, you have to build or you have to buy a solution which will make your data more governed. Did I answer your question?
Yes. So, apart from this, there are a few more differences. Like in warehouse, there will be data will be a little more structured, and in a data lake, it will be a little less structured, right?
So it's not mandatory that in a data lake the data will be less structured. You can store any kind of data. You can store structured, you can store semi-structured, you can store unstructured. But in a data warehouse, you have a mandate that you can only store structured data.
Structured. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Understood. Thank you.
Hi,
Yeah.
Abhishek.
Yeah.
How does data lake is related to the Power BI?
So Power BI is an analytics tool. Like it is a BI tool basically. You perform your BI operations. You build your dashboards. You build your reports. Like so, any BI tools have a database in its backend or a data source in its backend. So either you can use a data warehouse or you can also use a data lake. So Power BI can also be connected to a data lake. It can also be connected to a database. It can also be connected to a data warehouse.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Hi, Abhishek. One question. So, how is the data governance being implemented in this, the frameworks, whatever you have mentioned, like Apache Hudi and Delta Lake by Databricks or Data Lake platform by Cubeworld? So, does these reference models or like frameworks, do you have any insights on how they were able to, what kind of aspects they taken care for the governance?
So I have personally used Apache Hudi, and I have also tried out Delta Lake by Databricks. So they are mostly used for managing your data on your data lake, like you're managing your upserts, managing your deletes, insertions. They're mostly used for that use cases, like how you can query the data, your queries. But for data governance, you need to add up a different utility so that you make your data secure. So that is on the infra level. So your data lake is on the that your data lake framework is on the application level. Okay, but your data security, your data governance will come on the infra level. So for that you need to either bring a utility, a paid utility, or you need to have you need to bring your self created utility to make that data governance available. I haven't tried the Cubeworld solution. Maybe they'll have a data governance layer, so by that you can make your data more secure, but I haven't used it.
So any governance utilities which you are aware in the market?
I have tried a few open source versions, but not currently used any data governance. But yes, AWS provides uh, data governance utility. AWS has its service. If I could remember the name, it it is something like Data Lake. I don't remember the exact name, but yes, it does provide the data governance features. So you can, if you have your data lake on your S3, you can use that particular service on the top of it to manage your data governance.
Sure. Thanks.
Sir, can you explain in brief the data governance a little bit?
Sorry.
Data governance means what? Can you just little bit give idea?
Okay. So data governance means like how you are securing your data or how much control you have your data. So let's suppose you have a database, right? And your database is open. So anybody can use the data, anybody can misuse the data as well. So you need to secure the data. For that, you need to have an authentication layer in between, so that if any user is authenticated, then only he can access that data, right? So for that you need to have a governance layer. So that is what a governance layer between so that you can bring more security and bring more governance on the top of your data, so that it is not misused and it is only used by authenticated users.
Okay, sir, got it. Sir, there is another question. Which is efficient? Is it a data lake or data warehouse?
Sorry.
Data warehouse and data lake. In both of them, which is more efficient kind of for performing operations? Or
So basically, like, both are efficient for their respective use cases, right? So if you just want to perform SQL operations, if you just want to perform basic analytics, right, then data warehouse is very efficient. It will give you faster results with very low effort. But if your use case requires processing large amount of data, if your use case requires processing real-time data, then you should have to go with the data lake approach, so that you can get faster results with minimal effort.
okay, sir, got it. Thank you.
Hello, Abhishek.
Yeah.
Yeah, my question is that already we are having the databases.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we using these kind of things? Whatever you said.
Got it. So I'll tell you, like, so databases are built for like basic OLTP operations or basic analytics solutions. Like when your queries are quite small or your queries doesn't require much of the analytics. So let's suppose you have 100 GB of data, right? And you have your MySQL or Postgres instance hosted, and you are running basic group by operations, where clause, and basic, you're creating basic views on top of it, then these type of use cases can be easily sufficed through that. But let's suppose you are a very bigger organization like Uber, uh, Amazon, where data is coming along in every second in TBs, right? So at that particular time, you can't store the data in a single node instance, right? You need to have a distributed system, or you need to have a clustered instance, right? So that and when you are when you want to perform complex queries on that scale amount of data, like, so then it won't work with a simple RDBMS system. Like you need to have either a data warehousing solution, which on the top of it you either make a data warehouse model, or if your data is coming along in your data lake in real time, then you should prefer a data lake approach. So like I'll tell you, like, so basic analytics can surely be done with the with databases, like, but when your analytics is moving to the next level, right, when your data is moving to the next level, then you will need a solution like a data warehouse or a data lake. So I'll just repeat that example, like, so there, like, Uber is a very big organization, like, and it is having like thousands of rides booked in a single city. Like let's suppose if they are trying to store all the data in a single DB, right? So their DB will get killed anyway, right? It will not be able to suffice that kind of load. And even if they are able to store the data, but if when they want to use it for analytics, right, when they want to do relational analytics, like it won't work, like it won't be able to suffice such heavy queries. So that is the reason is why, like, we need to have a proper infra available which is made for analytics, right? So simple DBs are made for storing the normal data and for querying basic operations, like, but when you have to do analytics, when you have to do BI, and when we have to do machine learning, you need such infra which is capable of doing which is capable of giving you much faster results in a very simple way, in a cost efficient way. So that is the reason which separates a typical database to a data warehouse or to a data lake.
Okay, Abhishek, thank you. And one more question. I mean, when you said we are going to use a data warehouse on the top of it, I mean, databases. I mean, we are going to use a huge amount of databases under the data warehouse for storing large amount of data.
So I'll give you an example. Like, let's suppose you are working in an organization and they have multiple products. Let's suppose I'll give you an example of Amazon only. So Amazon have their e-commerce platform. Amazon have Amazon Pay. Amazon also have their pharmacy platform. Amazon also have their credit card, right? Amazon Pay credit card. And Amazon also have their payment gateway. And there are various services. Amazon also have Amazon Food as well, like. So all these services would be having their separate DBs, right? And let's suppose I am a product head and I want to know how many common users I have, right? So I need to combine the data from all these services, right? But they are stored in different services. So how could I do that? So for that, I need to bring all the data into a common storage, and then I should perform that analytics. So that is where you bring a data warehouse concept or data lake concept. So you can bring your application data from any kind of source, and then you can combine and relate all the data to perform analytics. So we will bring the data. So we will duplicate the data from your databases. We will make it in a way that is that can be used for analytics, and then we will perform our queries. We can run our reports on top of it. Did I
Yeah,
answer
thank
your
you,
question?
Abhishek. Yeah, sure.
Great.
Sir, one more question.
Yeah.
Sir, is it data warehouse and data lake are related with cloud computing, or that they are different?
Yes. So basically, like, you can host a data lake or a data warehouse on cloud as well as on premise. So big organizations who can afford large on-premise systems, they usually create their data warehouse on their premise. They use Hive, like, for that particular use case, and they also use SDFS for storing the data on the SDFS as a data lake. So yes, data warehouses and data lake can be related to cloud computing, because now the cloud providers have also started giving you services like data warehouse and data lake. So as I told you, like, AWS provides you uh, uh, S3 to use it as a data lake, and the AWS also provides Amazon Redshift as a data warehouse solution. Similar to, like, Azure also provide its storage, which can be used for a data lake, and it also provide a data lake and data warehouse solution for that.
Okay, got it.
I think there's
Any other
one,
questions? Yeah.
there's one question in chat also. Abhishek.
Okay.
Last one about can an admin guy move to the data analyst or kind of role?
So yeah, definitely, right. So basically, like, if you want to be a data analyst, right, so you need to have a good knowledge in any kind of SQL DBs, right? You need to know like how you can run queries, how you can perform basic query operations, right? And if you are fine with that, then definitely like you can move ahead to that role. Like it just, if in case you like have learned querying, in case you have learned working on databases, you can surely switch to that role.
Hello, sir. I have confusion about one thing. That is cloud computing, whether it is a data storing system or data transmission system.
So cloud computing is like not related to store, or it is like it is everything. Like you can do anything on cloud, right? So cloud is something like it's similar to your system. Like let's suppose you have joined this meeting in your laptop, right? So that's your on-premise system. Now let's suppose you want to use a bigger system, so you have to purchase it, right? So but you don't want to purchase it because you just need it for a particular time, so then you can lend it, right? So there are companies which are big cloud providers like Amazon Web Services, Azure, Google Cloud Platform. They actually have their infrastructure ready made, and you can lend it for some time, or you can lend it as per your usage. And once you have used it, they provide you with the solutions. Like they provide you instances, they provide you storage systems, they provide you processing systems, and they provide you governance systems, secure systems. All these services comes with their cloud uh, packages, and then you can use it as per your need. Like so it's just that you don't need to buy the actual machine, you're lending it for a particular time. So cloud computing is everything. You can do anything on cloud. You can store your data, you can process your data, you can transform your data, anything you can do.
Okay, sir. Got it. Got it.
Okay, great. I think we have reached to the end of this session. So, thanks, Abhishek, for like joining and answering all the questions. Anyone like so who's interested to take up career into this field or data engineering, are looking for some guidance or anything, there's a drop in the chat. There's a link to our boot camp. Do check that out. It has a lot of interesting projects and uh, all the topics of data engineering that we cover. So if you are interested in any way, want to transition or just want to understand like if you are suitable for that kind of role, how does it make sense as per your career and anything, do register there. One of our educational counselors will reach out to you. And yeah, so again, thanks a lot for joining. uh, we will be here for like 2 minutes more, and meanwhile, like if somebody has some questions, otherwise, yeah, good evening.
Hello, sir. Is it paid or free?
It's paid.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, again, like thanks Digvijay for giving the opportunity to share my knowledge, and thanks everyone for being such a good guest, and thanks for your awesome questions. We'll surely like to connect again and discuss more interesting stuff. In case you have any questions, we are still available for some time. Please feel free to ask.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Sir, I have to clear one thing that if there is larger amount of data, we have to use data lake or data warehouse. And if there is temporary data that we have to use and perform operation on it, so that we can use cloud computing for it. Is it correct or?
Uh, oh, sorry, can you repeat your question? I think you make two things.
Yes, sir. Data warehouse and data lake. We have to use for permanent and large amount of data to perform and store it, perform analysis on it and store it.
Mhm.
And cloud, is it cloud computing for storing temporary data and perform analysis? That.
So yes, like if you have large amount of data and you want to perform analytics on the top of it, you can use any approach, data warehouse or data lake. It depends on your use case. Like let's suppose you want to make simple SQL querying, basic aggregates, you can use a data any data warehouse and you can use it for analytics. But if you are if you want to use any machine, if you have any machine learning use case, if you want to do if your data is coming in real time, then you can opt for a data lake approach. But yes, if you the infra which you want to choose can surely be on cloud, right? You can use any cloud provider, maybe AWS, Azure or Google Cloud platform, and you can host your data warehouse and data lake on that particular cloud and continue your analytics on the top of it.
Okay, sir. Got it. Thank you very much.
Hi, Abhishek.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, I just had one query. Is data lake better optimized to store data, real-time data, like how we ingest data from Kafka or like any Azure Event Hub, those kind of services? Can we just directly bit of process and store there instead of any relational database or data warehouse? Would that be better?
Yes, definitely. So data lake are like surely built for that particular use cases, like when you have real-time data coming from Kafka or RabbitMQ, right? You can simply like push your data streams into a data lake and make it available for further use. So it depends like how you are using it. Like so if you want to just store it, then it is available for storage. If you want to process it, then you have to bring a processing engine, and then it will like processing engine like Spark or Flink, or then you can like fetch the data, do your transformation, and then use it for your further use case. But if you want to just like store it in real time and use it for basic querying, then maybe and the amount of data is fairly small, so that is also an essential point here. So you talked about Kafka, right? But your data volume is very small, like your payload is very small. So let's suppose in a day you are not pushing data more than 500 MB or 1 GB, right? So then you should not go ahead with the data lake approach, because that's it will be an overkill. But if your data is coming in large volume and you want to do heavy analytics on top of it, then surely a data lake is fairly an optimized solution for that.
Got it. Got it. Well, just because mostly not from cost perspective, but other things like maintenance and to providing security and all those things, for small volume of data, the warehouse should be better, right?
Yes. So warehouses will be like slightly expensive, but they'll give you a proper solution, fast solution with proper data governance, right? They'll surely give you.
Yeah, got it. Got it. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks again for joining. Thanks, Abhishek, for. I hope like people find it very insightful. And yeah. So bye bye.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you all of us. Thank you all for joining. Have a good day ahead.